And you've just heard There Is a Place, which is from Way Out West, the eagerly awaited debut album from Frankie Morrow. And I'm delighted to be joined by Frankie now. Hello.
Hello, Ali. How are you?
I'm really well, thanks. I'm really well. And before we get stuck into the album in detail, can you tell us a bit about There Is a Place, which we've just heard?
Yeah, so There's a Place was, I think, actually the final track or one of the final tracks that I wrote for the album. It basically came, it, I had essentially like the studio time booked, and me and Duncan, my drummer, were booked in to do it, and we only had two songs in that week running up to it, and it was the Tuesday or Wednesday. I was like, I really need to get another song under my belt because the way we were doing it for each session for the record, we did 4 days, but we do like three songs per day. And that one, I just had this kind of refrain of there is a place sort of came. I think I was actually tinkering around on the piano, and that lyric came to me. And I was actually thinking about my dad and what he might say to me because I actually lost him a couple of years ago, and I was going through quite a hard time. And I was thinking about, yeah, how would he comfort me? And that was the lyric and the refrain. It became like, I suppose, a little bit of a mantra for the record as well.
I was going to ask you about the songs and whether you've been working on them for a while or whether they're all quite recent.
Well, yeah, it was quite a quick process, I'd say, as albums go. I started writing in October of 2024, and I think we got in the studio with the band in December 2024, and the last band recording session was March 25. As I say, it was just 4 full days that we did, and then recorded it all as live pretty much with the four of us. A couple of them we did as a three-piece, a couple of them we did with just me and drums. And then I did, yeah, like some background vocals and extra guitar parts at home and in Neve's house. If anyone knows the show, they'll know Neve, my very good friend and songwriter and artist. So she let me go and use her bedroom studio for a little bit.
So interesting because it does sound to me like there's an immediacy to the album that
Yes.
is maybe because of the way it's been recorded.
Yeah, definitely. I think, well, yeah, that, and also I think I genuinely was going through so much emotionally where I would usually, but historically with my writing, I've kind of processed things over a much longer period of time. Whereas I think between losing my dad, then going into a breakup 6 months later, it was kind of like this was just like this emotion was kind of pouring out of me, and the way I suppose I know how to make sense of things is by writing about it. So I suppose, yeah, it does have that urgency, and I wanted as well to capture it in its raw state and to
Yeah.
not sort of shy away from that, you know? Like I didn't want it to be polished, I think.
I mean, there's to see a kind of rawness, which you can imagine from live, but it's not just, there's more than that going on. There is production and there is a lot of
Yeah.
other things happening as well. Um, and I don't want to overstate this or speak on your behalf, but is there something therapeutic then about writing such personal songs?
Yeah, I mean, genuinely, I don't. It sounds funny, but I don't really think about it.
Yeah.
It's not until people point out to me, they're like, "Oh, that's quite personal." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I suppose it is," but I guess you can only kind of write what you know. So, yeah, I've not really delved too much into abstractions on this one. Maybe that will come at a different time, but yeah, very therapeutic. I think what's actually really therapeutic about it is not just for me, but it's when people come to me and say that lyric that you wrote has said exactly like what I felt at that time, whatever they were going through. That's the really cool thing,
I
I
mean,
think.
that's the kind of, it's a stereotype for a reason, but often it's in the specific that people find the greatest kind of connection.
Yeah, yeah, completely, completely. And I think that is, I was writing about this the other day, actually. It feels like that is really the only reason that we share art is for those moments, you
Yeah,
know, or else you would just write in your room, wouldn't you? You
yeah,
wouldn't put it out there. It's about that connection and, yeah, not feeling alone, I guess.
yeah. And
Yeah.
it's interesting because I think we don't often think of that as a conversation. We often think of it as a kind of one-way exchange where you make art, whatever it might be, and you put it out there and then other people consume it. But actually, as someone who makes it as well, you're getting a lot from the reaction and from the feedback and from all of those things.
Yeah, definitely. That's like what it's all about for me, to be honest. And I think with this album, it's been the first time there are people like I've had a lot of messages, and actually it's been interesting because it's been different songs as well that people have
Yeah.
kind of attached themselves to, which has been cool. So
And it's the debut, as I said, eagerly awaited as well. Certainly for me, it's been eagerly awaited. How did you know that this was going to be an album kind of from the start when you're writing these songs?
well, yeah, I think it was more of a yeah, it had to be. I had just written so much material. I mean, there's songs that didn't make it on, yeah, it became quite apparent, I think, quite early on that it would have to be. And also, I had been thinking about, my first album for a little while anyway, because I put out the debut EP in 2022, I think.
Yeah, it was. I looked at that just before we went to talk. Yeah.
A few years ago, so it definitely was kind of top of my list anyway. And then it just so happened I had a heck of a lot to write about in quite a short period of time. So,
Do you think any of those tracks might come out at a later date?
probably not, I would say, because I just,
Are they all part of? And the reason I'm asking this question is I went to a kind of album launch recently by the jazz band Mama Terra, and
Mhm.
Marco, the kind of main guy, was saying we tried to get the record label to do a double album, and they went no.
Oh, really?
No, no, no. So he was saying there are tracks that might come out later on in a kind of, EP or another format or anything like that. But is you're saying no? Is that because this feels like a whole, a kind of the album is a complete thing, and then you maybe move on to whatever is next?
I think so. I mean, actually, I'd probably tell a lie because there is one, actually, maybe there's one specific one that I think maybe that is good enough. But the interesting thing about that one was that kind of came after the process. So Way Out West was done, and then I wrote this other one outside of that, and it's kind of in the back of my mind. But then I also feel like it's quite nice to maybe sometimes things should just be left. I don't know. We'll see.
You still feel, I mean, the album's not long out as we're talking.
Yeah,
Do you still feel very close to these songs?
I do, but in like a really healthy way now. I think when I wrote them, it was so raw, as we were saying, in that immediacy, and now it's like what, nearly 2 years on, and they live. I mean, for one, just emotionally in a completely different headspace, and they sort of live outside of me, and I can recognize the person that was going through that, but it doesn't feel like, yeah, it doesn't feel as close, I suppose, in a good way.
So we said that the debut EP came out in 2022, and I was wondering how you feel as a band you've developed and changed over the years. We should say who else is involved. You've mentioned Neve.
Yeah, Neve, obviously, long time collaborator on keys and acoustic guitar and backing vocals, and then you have Duncan Carswell on drums and James Smith on bass for the majority, and Annie Needham on bass for a couple. I think she was on There's a Place and To Be Loved Is to Be Known. And then pedal steel, JC Palmer, which, oh my God, I think Jake just added so much, so much. So many people have said to me that pedal steel, those tones. I'm like, it's nothing to do with me, but I'm glad. I'm glad you like it as much as I do.
And so, I mean, that's one way that you maybe change in terms of the instruments that you are getting used. But do you see how you've changed, and maybe yourself as a songwriter as well, have changed over the years?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it's been an interesting one because I sort of thought of the project as a group thing, and to an extent it still is, but I was always the primary songwriter anyway. So I think it's just, yeah, it's been an interesting one, kind of, I suppose, me front and center with the band. But I think it makes sense that way. And obviously Neve has her own project anyway.
Yeah.
And actually James, to be fair, moved back up to Scotland, so he's actually not down here anymore. So there's been like a bit of change in the live lineup. Actually, who I'm playing with now is slightly different to the record. So I think at one point recently I was a six piece. So it seems to be growing arms and legs as this project continues. But
And I know you've been back up in Scotland recently, playing a couple of gigs and a couple of shows. But you had the live launch down in London. First of all, how did that go? What was it like?
yeah, oh my God. Well, it was in the middle of this heat wave. I have never experienced heat like it on stage. I mean, I actually thought I was going to pass out like three times. It was insane. It was insane. But yeah, we managed to pack it out, and it was just such an amazing feeling. I think, especially when you're so warmly received in a city that's not your hometown or whatever. It is a really special thing. And yeah, just big shout out to the Ivy House. I don't know if you've ever been, but it's like community owned, cooperative, and just an amazing ethos there as well.
You were talking about playing these songs live, and how was it to play them live? Considering you almost played them live in the recording process anyway, was it quite an easy transition?
Yeah, that's it. I think like I mean, I grew up listening to all of the records that were recorded live anyway, so I feel like it was just me kind of being able to realize that vision for the first time, which was really, really cool. And then translating them came so naturally because, as you say, we'd kind of already done it. I think the only difference was like some of the additional guitar parts I had written sent, like, so for example on Way Out West we just recorded that, me and Duncan, and it was just me on rhythm acoustic guitar, and then I added like the little mandolin and the extra guitar details afterwards. And so then it was so nice actually getting to play them then with the five of us, and you can realize all those, as you say, those extra sort of production details and things.
You mentioned there that you listen to like records that are have been played as live. Do you have any in mind that kind of have influenced this album?
Yes. There's one in particular, which is Blood on the Tracks by Bob Dylan. And I absolutely rinsed that thing when I was writing and recording this. And I remember actually when I reached out to Callum, who ended up engineering, mixing, and co-producing with me, and I was like, if I can make even like a tenth of what this record is and what it does for people, I'll be happy. Um, although I have to say, I think the lore around that record is that they recorded, I think, did they record half of it and scrap them and do them again? So we didn't quite have to do that. But in terms of getting people in the room, and also I think like the people who played on that record, they would be given the songs in the morning and play them at night. Now I didn't quite go that far, but it would be maybe like Tuesday, Wednesday, I'd meet up with the guys and then play the songs to them. And by Saturday, we were recording them. And again, it was feeding into that immediacy and not overthinking anything. I think it's like trying to play, because quite often when you bring a song to someone, like what they play first time is often the right thing, actually, you know?
I've heard that so often.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you're not, it's just like from the heart, you know, your mind's not in the way, which I think is good. Yeah.
And of course, I mean, another album with incredibly personal songs as well, Blood on the Tracks.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what I loved so, and what I love so much about that record is the range of emotion. Like you've got the rage, you've got Idiot Wind, you've got like the softness and the sort of longing. You have like the devastation. I just feel like it takes you through all of those emotions and doesn't shy away from them and doesn't try to sort of like cleanse. I think sometimes you can sort of overanalyze things, and yeah, that's not really what music's about for me. It's just about trying to translate a kind of moment in time, a feeling in time almost, you know.
Yeah, I get that absolutely. And actually, some people, when I do things like this and ask them, can you tell us what the song's about? They go quite rightly,
Yeah.
well, it's up to you what the song's about.
Yes, I feel that. Yeah, exactly. That's what we all do anyway. Put our own.
What are you listening to at the moment? Is there anything particularly impressing you?
Yes, I am just looking down below me because I have records next to me. I've been listening to Joshua Burnside,
Mhm.
and I think is it his third record? Hold on, it's not going to be okay. This guy,
Right.
which I got actually at some great reward in Glasgow when I was doing
Yeah.
that Insta. And the other person, oh, actually, Anastasia. Have
Right.
you heard her stuff? It was a debut record she put out, I think, like early last year, as in 2025. I saw her play a few months ago.
I will make a note of that.
Anastasia, yeah, it's one of the most affecting gigs I've ever witnessed. Like I felt like I really was bearing witness to something. If she, I don't know if she's coming to Glasgow or not, but yeah, highly, highly recommend her debut record.
And what's the plans for you for the rest of the year? Now that the album's out, how does it feel to have the album out? It must be exciting.
Yeah, it's great actually, because you kind of just sit with this thing on your own mostly for such a long time, and it's kind of all that you do think about, which is a bit nuts. So it feels nice. It feels really, really nice that it's out there. And to be honest, I've just had the space to actually write again for the next thing, which is really good. I mean, I feel like this is sort of the same with most artists. As soon as you put that a project out, you're already thinking about right,
Yeah.
what's the next thing? But I don't want to rush anything, you know. Um, but I'm always up to something. I'm always writing something.
But that is true. You're right about all artists. I talk to them about, or people like me talk to them about the most recent thing that's just out. And actually, their headspace is on what's next, or even what's after what's next, because then what's next is already completed.
I know, it's mad. I think, yeah, it's a funny thing, isn't it? I guess because the release cycle, you're always kind of going to be behind, especially when you're self-releasing,
Yeah.
because it's just me getting it out there, you know?
Now, you mentioned again, go back to the Bob Dylan album, that it's kind of varied and takes you on a journey. I think your album is varied as well. We're going to hear another track in a moment, January, which again is a very different type of track. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so January, I think, was actually written more conversely. I think that was near the start. And I suppose that I knew that there was going to be moments of sort of raucousness and like, you know, really dirty guitar tones and wildness. And I suppose I also wanted to bring in just like a moment of calm towards the end of the record. And I suppose that song is quite, to me, is quite a kind of soft and accepting of the situation type song, you know, which I think was important to represent that feeling as well.
Yeah, it does exactly that. Frankie, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. I think the album's superb. All the very best with it and what goes next.
Thank you so much, Ali. Always a pleasure.
And this is Frankie Morrow and January.